Hi, this is Mike Amundson. Just wanted to come to you today and put together a quick video as to why Karen and I decided to do doTERRA as a business, or in fact why we decided to go into business for ourselves. And I guess the best way to start is to define, a few terms and define what is going into business for yourself, and what does that look like, and why do most people not do it. And so first off, I think it's important to understand kind of what business is. The definition that Webster puts to it is the exchange of goods and services for currency or money, and how we as a society are involved in that. 99% of people are going to be involved in it in one of four ways or four categories. Now, these aren't all my ideas, obviously. I've kind of gleaned them from some great business minds, Jack Welch, Robert Kiyosaki, Dave Ramsey. And so a lot of these ideas, maybe you've heard or maybe you've seen in a seminar, but these are the reasons that Karen and I decided to go into business. And so how are we involved? Like I said, 99% of people are involved in one of four of these categories and are involved in business in one of these. Either you are an employee, and I'm going to do just a quick diagram to show you what I mean. And so if we take just a quadrant here, up here in the upper left-hand corner, you have an E, and the E is going to stand for employee. Down here is an S, and the S stands for someone who would be self-employed. The B up in the upper right-hand corner is going to be a business owner. And the I in the lower left or right-hand corner is going to be an investor. Everybody, or 99% of people who are involved in some sort of commerce, are in one of these four categories. Now, 85%. So 85% of the workforce, or people involved in commerce or the economy, are in this E category. They're an employee. 15% make up the rest of the quadrants. And so what does an employee give you? An employee gives you, being an employee, you're part of a corporation or a small business or a medium-sized business, and you work for somebody else. You are doing a task or a group of tasks, managing people in exchange for money, and sometimes money plus benefits, which would be vacation or 401k or insurance coverage. So those are the things that you get in exchange for doing work for that small business, medium-sized business, or large corporation. The pros of that, there are great pros. Security, monetary security, job security, or at least perceived security. You have very little risk involved in that, being an employee. You do your job. Maybe sometimes you fly around the country for an employer. What are some of the things that are negative, or the cons to that? Well, you're building wealth for either someone else or something else, maybe a corporate entity. Maybe you work for GE or Honeywell, where you have shareholders that you're accountable to. So you are building wealth for them. Flexibility of schedule, you don't have that. You are at the mercy of whatever corporation or small business or medium-sized business that you're working for. You couldn't, for instance, take a month off and expect to have the job that you had when you come back. So those are some of the cons that are involved in being part of that employee group. It's hard to build wealth while you're in that employee group. And so really the idea is to move from this left-hand part of the quadrant over to the right-hand part of the quadrant. So now we have our small businesses, and these are people who are working for themselves. Sometimes they might be accountants or lawyers or doctors, dog walkers for that matter. You're working for yourself, and many times this is just you, and you are considered a small business. Hairstylists, you are your own boss. What does this give you? Well, it gives you flexibility. You can work whenever you want. You have the ability to choose your own hours. You have the ability to write things off as business expenses, so there's some tax benefits to this. What are the cons of this? Well, most of the time, if you're working for yourself, you don't get paid unless you cut somebody's hair, if you're a hairstylist. Or you don't get paid unless you're doing someone's taxes, like an accountant would. So you do have a lot of benefits when it comes to time flexibility, but if you stop working, there's nobody to take your place. You are not going to get paid for that. And so sometimes you don't have as much vacation as you'd want. Or sometimes you wouldn't be able to just leave your place of business and then come back when you want. So the flexibility goes away. And a lot of times you're working a lot more hours. So those are some of the cons to that. But you do have some tax benefits to that. So that would be the self-employed person. So who is the business owner? Well, the business owner is someone who is manifesting other people's talents, time, and energy to make money for them. And so there are a lot of benefits to being a business owner. Being a business owner, you can, one, leave when you want. You can leave when you want and be rest assured that your business is working for you as you're gone. So if you wanted to take a month off of vacation, well, you can take a month off and know that there are employees or people that are working on your behalf. You are utilizing their energy, their talents, and their time to build wealth for yourself. And then finally, in the last column is when you have that more income, when someone is making money for you, you have the ability to invest that money. And then your money is working for you, basically. That's the idea of investing, whether that's through real estate or the stock market or whatever it is, your money is working for you. And so the idea is you want to get from the left-hand part of the quadrant over to the right-hand part of the quadrant. And that's how you build wealth. And so that brings us to Karen and I's journey as moving from the left-hand part of the quadrant to the right-hand part of the quadrant. How did we do that, or how are we doing that? Well, we are straddling in between right now. I am still an employee. We are still working, and I am grateful for that. That's giving us money and job security, and all while we are building a business. So we are attempting to move over to this business owner type of status. So why did we choose doTERRA as our vehicle to move from the left-hand side of the quadrant to the right-hand side of the quadrant? Well, a couple of reasons. One, we didn't have a lot of money to start. We couldn't buy a franchise. We couldn't put up a brick-and-mortar building. We didn't have a lot of money to invest. So doTERRA gave us that vehicle at a very, very low cost of entry. And so that was one reason. We loved the company. We loved the products. We loved the products way before we started the business. And so that was the reason that we decided that we would use doTERRA as that vehicle to move us from that left-hand side of the quadrant to the right-hand side of the quadrant. And so now we've been doing this business for about 10 months. We have we took about a month and a half hiatus in the middle because we moved from Wisconsin to Colorado. And so now, how are we doing? That's the question. Has it worked? Are we moving from that left-hand side of the quadrant to the right-hand side of the quadrant? And the answer is yes, we are. Is it easy? No. But is it replicatable? Yes. We have done well. We have about 100 people in our organization, 100 customers in our organization that we're extremely thankful for. And what does that mean as an income for us, as a residual income, something that we have to work towards, but we can take off if we want to. We can make our own hours. We get the tax benefits that come along with being a business owner. All of those things, those freedoms. So what does that mean? Right now, we are making about $750 to about $1,000 a month in residual type income with doTERRA. So we see that as success. And expenses, we usually have about $150 to $170 a month in expenses when it comes to our doTERRA business. And that doesn't include kind of what does it take from a miles standpoint, going from class to class and things like that. That's fairly minimal. But $150 to $200 in expenses, so you minus that off, so we make about $800 a month. Now, our trajectory is in a year, if we continue to do the same things, and if we continue to build our business, and we see some what I would call the human factor, the compound interest, we're going to have people that are going to want to do this business alongside us. We are looking at probably about $4,500 to about $7,000 in about a year per month that we'll see from doTERRA. So we are excited that we're moving from that left-hand side of the quadrant to the right-hand side of the quadrant. It's giving us freedom, and it's replicatable. And so if there's anybody that is interested in joining our team, or maybe you're already part of our team, but you're thinking, hey, if they can do it, we can do it. And that's for sure the truth. So have a great day. Thanks for listening.